Hello and welcome, magnificent coders. My name is Shawn, and I will be your instructor today. You're watching Lesson 7 of the Python 4 Beginner series. In this lesson, we will learn about logical operators, escape characters, and loops, including for loops and while loops. Now you may notice that these are fewer topics than we usually learn about. However, these are a little bit more complex and a little harder to grasp than what we usually learn. So pay special attention and feel free to rewind the video at any time that you need to. So with that, let's go ahead and begin with our logical operator section. Okay, so let's begin with our logical operators. In Python, we have three major logical operators. They are AND, OR, and NOT. They are all useful if we have to combine multiple conditions, which means two or more conditions. The AND operator returns true if all conditions are met. Otherwise, it will return false. The OR operator returns true if at least one condition is met. Otherwise, it will return false. The NOT operator returns true if the condition after the NOT keyword is false. Otherwise, it will return false. Understandably, that is a little bit difficult to comprehend in words, so let's actually put that into code. So first, let's make some conditions. Our conditions will be if test taker has a good score and has not cheated, then he is eligible for honors. So if you do want to write that with me, you can, but you don't have to. Okay, so let's actually make that into code. So our logical operator here is AND. Okay, so we need two variables. They're going to be has good score, and we're going to set that to the Boolean value true for now. And the other one is going to be has not cheated, and set that to the Boolean value true for now too. Okay, then we're going to make an if statement. If has good score and has not cheated, then print eligible for honors. So go ahead and write that, and if we run our code, we're going to get eligible for honors because as of right now, we have both of our variables set to true. Now if we set either of these to false and run our program again, then we will get nothing because our conditions are not met and we have not specified what to do if our conditions are not met. So that is really the basic idea of what the AND operator is, and let's move on to the OR operator. So what we're really going to do is just change this AND to OR. So now we have if the test taker has a good score or has not cheated, then he is eligible for honors. So if we all we really have to do here is change this to OR, and let's go ahead and reset this so they're both true, and let's run our program, and it is eligible for honors since at least one of these is true. Now even if we change one of these to false and run our program again, he's still eligible for honors because our condition that one of them has to be true is still met. Now if we change both of these to false and run our program, it is gone because again our conditions are not met and we have not specified what to do if our conditions are not met. Okay, so our final operator, NOT. Before we do anything though, let me give you a summary of what we've learned so far. So we have our AND operator, and what our AND operator does is it gives us true if all conditions are met. All conditions are met. Our OR operator gives us true if at least one condition is met. And our not operator is sort of an outlier. It really gives us the opposite of what we've put. So if we give it true, it gives us a false. And this is very, very difficult to describe in words. So let me go ahead and go back to our code, and let's change this to and not. And both of our variables, if you can see that, are both set to false right now. So if we run our program, it gives us nothing because our conditions are not met. So if we change this to true though, if we run our program, we still get nothing. However, if this is set to false, and this is true, and we run our program, we get eligible for honors. And the reason for this is because what we're saying when we wrote this is if the person does have a good score, but and not has cheated. And this is really a double positive / double negative, and it really just switches everything around. So and not has not cheated is really the same thing is really the same thing as and has cheated. And that is really why we have to set this to false, because he has cheated. And if that is a little bit difficult to understand, I can totally understand. If you do have any questions, again, I am always available in the comment section. But go ahead and pause the video right here and try some of your own examples of logical operators so you can really get the hang of it. And if you do need to, I would highly recommend that you do go back in the video a little bit so you can cover this one more time and really grasp onto this topic, because this is incredibly important, as you will learn pretty soon. Okay, so moving on to our escape characters. Now, in the word escape characters, we have characters, and that word, characters, can actually be quite deceiving. Escape characters are not as much characters as they are ways to format characters, so they are either easier to write, easier to read, or both. So that is a little bit confusing to hear in words and understand, I know, so let's go ahead and put it into code. So before we do actually start writing, I do want you to note that every single escape character always starts with a backslash. That is very important, and if it does not start with a backslash, it is not an escape. It is not an escape character. So that's it. If it doesn't start with a backslash, it is not an escape character. So let's say we wanted to print hello world, but we wanted to print hello and world on different lines. Well, if we didn't use escape characters, the easiest way to do that would actually be to put 3 quotes and then put these on different lines. And if we did print that, it does indeed give it on different lines, but this is quite inefficient compared to what we can do with escape characters. With escape characters, all we have to do is print hello world, and in between that, put a backslash and an N. If we print this, it does indeed give us the same output with a lot less effort. And this is not just for 2 words. You can put more. Backslash N, and then another N, Earth. So that should print us hello world and Earth on different lines. And as we can see, that it does exactly that. And so this can be incredibly efficient when you're only putting 2, but if you are putting more than 2 words, it'll probably be faster to put 3 single quotes. Okay, so our next one is to print the actual backslash character itself. If we try to print the backslash character itself and we run our program, it gives us a syntax error, EOL while scanning string literal. And if we put 2 backslashes, that'll actually solve this issue, and it gives us 1 backslash. But do note that you'll have to put another backslash for each backslash you want to print, which means that if I wanted to print 3, or rather 2, I would have to put 2 more just to get the other one. If I wanted to print 3, I'd have to put 2 more to get just that 3rd one. So printing a backslash can be pretty inefficient, so I would recommend that if you have to print a lot of backslashes, that you just copy and paste. So copy and then, paste, and then if we run our program, we get all of the slashes. So yeah, that is probably the easiest way to print that if you need a lot of backslashes. So our next is actually to print the double quote so that the double quote does not signal the end of the string. So let's say that we wanted to do I am 5'9" tall. Now, the problem with this is that this quote right here makes the program think that this is the end of the string, and then it gets confused as to what this is. Well, the backslash to the rescue again. If we put the backslash before this and run our program, then it gives us, I am 5'9" tall, exactly the way we wanted it. So this one is really just the backslash itself without any special character after it. So the next one is actually pretty much the same thing, but with a single quote. It prints a single quote so that the single quote does not signal the end of the string. So if we had single quotes at the front and the end here, then this would actually make the program think that the program ends right here and confuse it as to what all of this is. And the backslash, again, is to the rescue here. Again, if we just put a backslash right here, it saves our life here because the backslash makes the program understand that that single quote is not signaling the end of the string. If we run our program, again, it gives us the same output, and this is another functioning thing that you can use, and it's also an incredibly useful thing. So that is really the end of this, except for one more that I wanted to say, which is \t. So what this does is it really, a tab is printed basically. So we put print hello world, and if we put \t and in our program, it gives us a space in between because a tab is printed in between hello and world. So those are our escape characters for the most part. There are a couple more, but those are a little bit too complex and detailed, and they're not really necessary for our beginner series. So yes, that is our escape characters. Next up, we have our for loops and while loops. Okay, so great job making it this far. Our next topic is the for loop. So before we actually get started learning about the for loop, I do want to add that the for loop is much less an actual topic and more of a subsection of topics inside the for loop. So what I mean is that there is the for loop itself, but the for loop has many different ways. There's looping through an iterable in the for loop, looping through an iterable in the for loop. There is looping through a string, and there is looping through a sequence of numbers. So let's go ahead and begin. So the first thing to do is looping through an iterable. And with that, let me go ahead and tell you what a for loop is in general. So the for loop executes a block of code repeatedly until the condition inside the for statement is no longer valid. Okay, so looping through an iterable. So in Python, an iterable refers to anything that can be looped over, which is a string, a list, or a tuple. The syntax for looping through an iterable is as follows. For a, an iterable, print a. So, for example, we could have pets, and then a square bracket. Inside it, we could have cats, and then we could have dogs, and then we could have rabbits, and after that we could have hamsters. Okay, and then we're going to have the actual for loop. So for my pets in pets, print my pets. If we run this program, it gives us all of our pets. And that is because we are representing my pets inside pets. So my pets would be cats, dogs, rabbits, and hamsters. And that becomes a variable. This is a little bit confusing, so try to bear with me for a little bit. So here's really a good explanation. So in this, we first declare the list pets and give it the members cats, dogs, rabbits, and hamsters. Next, the statement for my pets and pets loops through the pets list and assigns each member in the list to the variable my pets. So the first time the program runs through the loop, it assigns cats to the variable in my pets. The statement print my pets then prints the value cats. The second time the program loops through the for statement, it assigns the value dogs to my pets and prints the value dogs. and it goes so on and so on until it does rabbits and hamsters and is completed. And the reason it seems so simultaneous is because the Python interpreter did it so quickly that our eyes didn't even have enough time to really capture on what was going on. And again, this relates back to how powerful Python is, and this is why you should learn it. Okay, so let's move on. We can also display the index, though, of the members in the list, and to do that, we can use the enumerate function. So we could do for index my pets in enumerate pets, and then print index my pets. If we do this, we get 0 cats, 1 dog, 1 dogs, 2 rabbits, and 3 hamsters. To make this more grammar friendly, we should probably take out the S in dogs, and if we do, we get 0 cats, 1 dog, 2 rabbits, and 3 hamsters. Okay, so the next example, we're going to learn how to loop through a string. So let's take all this out, and let's put, for our message, we're going to put world. Okay, and then we're going to make a for statement, which is going to be for I in message, print print I. And if we run this, we get world, with each letter on a different line. And again, this was not simultaneous. Python did each letter at a time, but our eyes are not fast enough to capture the power of Python, which is why it seems so simultaneous. Okay, so next up is looping through a sequence of numbers. So to loop through a sequence of numbers, the built-in range function in Python can come in handy. The range function generates a list of numbers and has the syntax range, which is start, end, and step. So if a start is not really given, the numbers generated will start from 0. So a quick note, a useful tip to remember is that in Python, and to be honest, most programming languages, unless it is otherwise stated, we always start from 0. So for instance, the index of a list and a tuple starts from 0. When using the format method for strings, the positions of parameters start from 0. And when using the range function, if the start is not given, the numbers generated start from 0. If step is not given, though, a list of consecutive numbers will be generated. So for example, the step equals 1. The end value must be provided. However, one weird thing about the range function is that the given end value is never part of the generated list. So if we put, let's put another for statement. So let's go ahead and remove all of this. So we could put, let's say, for I in range 5, print I. And if we run this, we get 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4, but we do not get 5. So you do have to remember that the last value will not be counted when we do this range function. Okay, so that is really what we need to learn about the for statement. This was a little bit confusing, and I can really understand if it was, so definitely go back, rewind, watch this one more time or 2 more times until you really get the grasp of it. Anyway, moving on to while loops. So while loops are a little bit more central than for loops. With for loops, everything was really just a subtopic because we had an iterable and sequence of numbers and a string and blah blah blah. But with a while loop, it is more centralized. So a while loop, like the name suggests, repeatedly executes instructions inside of it while a certain condition remains valid. So the structure of a while statement is something like this. While condition is true, do A, or do X, anything really. And most of the time when using a while loop, we first need to declare a variable to function as a loop counter. So let's go ahead and just call this variable counter. The condition in the while statement will evaluate, it will evaluate the value of counter to determine if it is smaller or greater than a certain value. So if it is, the loop will be executed. So let's try something. Let's make our variable counter equal 5. And then let's make our while loop, which is going to be while counter is greater than 0. Print counter equals, then comma counter. And then after that, we're going to put counter equals counter minus 1. And if we do this, we're going to get stuck in an infinite loop. And this is probably one of the biggest dangers with while loops. Do the wrong thing and you're going to get stuck in an infinite loop. And right now, my computer is only able to process this because this is a relatively fast and strong computer. But if you do this on one of the slower computers with a worse processor, this can literally cause the computer to crash. So be very, very careful when you are doing while loops, just so that to make sure that you don't get stuck inside a while loop. Okay, so other than that, we're going to move on. And that is really going to be our basic fundamentals for the while loop, but we still do have more. If we put y counter equals 7 and we run this again, now please do not run this, I am only doing this as a test, then we are going to get stuck in a loop with only 7s. If we do, let's say 9, we're going to get stuck in a loop with only 9s. And what you may think is that this is one of the only ways to cause an infinite loop, but you'd be wrong. While loop infinite loop stuckings are caused by a variety of things, and they can be incredibly harm-causing. Your computer can have literal physical damage if you get stuck in one of these loops. And I'm not trying to say that if you do get stuck in an infinite loop, your computer is going to crash guaranteed. No, that's not true. But you want to do anything you can to not get stuck in one of these loops, because if you do, this can, again, I do want to stress this a lot, cause damage to your computer. So definitely while you're writing while loops, try to do your best to not get stuck in an infinite loop and read your code multiple times just to confirm that you do not get stuck in an infinite loop. And with that, we will close for today. And this was a great lesson for me. I'm not sure if it was for you. Definitely leave your feedback in the comments below. And thank you guys so much for sticking with me till the end. If you do need to, feel free to rewind to any part of this lesson so that you can get a better idea of everything, because I know this was a little bit difficult to grasp and a little bit complicated, but I promise you, just watch this a few times and you will get the hang of it. So thank you very much for sticking with me till the end, and I hope to see you in another lesson or another video. Till then, see ya.